Hi everyone, on this pleasant sunny afternoon, I'm going to answer a question that a lot of people have been wondering about lately after I did my comparison of the two Schiit audio systems, that was the Multibit and Magni 3 versus the Asgard and Bifrost. One of the questions that people asked was how much of an upgrade is the Bifrost over the inbuilt Multibit DAC card of the Asgard 3? Now I thought originally, well, maybe a whole system upgrade would be more noticeable. That's why I did the system comparison, the Multibit and Magni 3 versus the Asgard 3 and Bifrost. But funnily enough, I was amazed to find that doing some listening, such as with these Hi-Fi Man Sundaras and the Drop HD6XX, as well as other headphones, although it was still very noticeable with these, that actually the upgrading from the Asgard 3 Multibit card to the Bifrost was actually very, very noticeable. It wasn't subtle at all. Just going back to using one of the tracks I used, which I've been listening to, one of the albums I've been listening with lately, Driftglass by the Schiit Ensemble. That's a kind of pretty good jazz album. Actually, the reasons I started listening to it was someone pointed it out online, and I'll refer to it in another video and the reasons I chose it. It's a nice, pleasant jazz album with a variety of instruments in a recording space, and you can hear it's a pretty good quality recording. So listening with the Multibit card and the Asgard 3, one thing to note is I couldn't level match them because with the Multibit card is a little bit quieter in volume than the Bifrost is, although I suppose I could have adjusted the Bifrost's volume in Roon. In the end, still, even just switching and turning down the volume, it was still very noticeable the differences between the presentation of both. Such was the difference, at least in my opinion. But if you'd want to disregard my thoughts because I couldn't level match them, I'll totally understand. However, listening with what was still a pleasant listen using the Multibit card in the Asgard 3. But I could tell because, it's an album I've been listening to on my kind of main system for a while, that it sounded like there was a kind of veil over the music. It sounded like there was something in between the music and me, and I couldn't make out everything clearly. It was kind of very obvious through the Asgard, whereas maybe since the Multibit card is essentially a Multibit in a card form, I'm just guessing that maybe the Magni 3 was actually masking some of the inability of the kind of Multibit to kind of deliver the music. But with the Asgard, it was kind of considerably more clear. Now, jumping up to the Bifrost, it seems like there's just like even just hitting the switch and even turning the volume down quickly so I wasn't just straight up fooled by the increase in volume. You could immediately hear the treble come out more clearly, and it felt like it was like switching away a veil, literally. You could hear like note decay was much more clear, like the background and what kind of echo of sounds around the recording space were more clear. Notes hung on longer, the subtleties of individual notes of instruments were more clear. It was just very, very noticeable, even just hitting the switch. Playing through the whole track, once through the Multibit card, then once through the Bifrost, that was very noticeable as well. It did probably mainly in the treble where I heard it, just this sudden increase in clarity. But mainly, for me, with good headphones, the subtleties of well-recorded music were much more apparent out of the Bifrost. And so, of course, obviously, it's a big jump. If you paid $400 for something and you're paying another $700 for a DAC. But for me, was very noticeable. And I wouldn't hesitate in saying that it's not something that gave me any trouble in noticing, even at my kind of very moderate listening levels. Maybe the only area where it might be less noticeable is if you had some very poor quality recordings, which kind of really maybe don't benefit from an increase in quality anyway. So as I always say, it's something to consider. The music quality is very important here. But still, an interesting question, and I'm glad people asked it and requested it, because I was actually more surprised by the results than I had expected. So that's my quick take on the Asgard 3 Multibit card versus Asgard 3 and Bifrost. So thanks everyone for asking that, and of course thanks always for everyone who's been supporting making my videos. And as always, if you have questions like these, you can ask me these anytime direct if you're a supporter, and chat to me anytime. So do check out the link below to become a supporter, and you can also get to see my impressions of gear well in advance of me making videos about them. So thanks once again for watching and asking the question, and I'll see you online.